Hey everyone, thank you for watching. Welcome to Exemplary Marketing's YouTube channel. One of the biggest debate topics in the software industry is there any difference between software engineering and software development? Some industries and techie guys consider that both are the same thing, and some consider it different. In the past few decades, both the terms have been completely messed up. Industries or employers are not able to differentiate both the terms, and so today we're going to be deciding this based on individual perception. We'll analyze some facts, examples, job responsibility, and other related terms to come up with a conclusion. What is software engineering? In software engineering, engineers apply scientific knowledge, engineering principles, or engineering science to build a new system or to solve a practical problem with good quality, in budget, and on time. So they look at the big picture and take the responsibility of the entire software development lifecycle or any existing problem. They need to come up with a common solution for a large number of people instead of a specific solution for a specific type of customer. So scientific knowledge, mathematics, ingenuity are all checked for software engineers. Developing solutions for technical, societal, and commercial problems are also checked for software engineers. Designing systems, considering limitations imposed by practicality, regulation, safety, and cost is also checked for software engineers. Software engineers are responsible for managing the development task. Consider an equation, 6 divided by 2, parentheses 1 plus 2, parentheses equals x. Now instead of giving the solution 1 or 9 or something else, an engineer needs to understand the equation at a high level, so this math problem lacks the bracket, which is important to decide which function needs to be performed first if the order of operations completely changes the result. So they're expected to come up with a solution that the equation cannot be solved due to ambiguity, and in engineering there cannot be ambiguity. What is software development? You can consider a software engineer as an architect and software developer as a carpenter. In software development, the main focus is on the art of making things. Software developers use their creativity, patterns, and practices to build things and focus on the development project as a part of the whole software development lifecycle. They do not have to rely on any engineering principles or fundamentals of scientific methods like software engineers do. Software developers work closely with graphic designers, product managers, senior managers, customer representatives, and other team members to build a specific project. Software developers are responsible to build the things taking the development task. After some experience in the industry, a software developer starts managing multiple parts of the system. So a software developer can become a software engineer by gaining experience and by expanding their scope of responsibilities. So you can conclude two things from the above description. A software engineer is engaged in software development, but not all the software developers are engineers. High-level software development work is very similar to software engineering. Difference between a software developer and software engineer. To understand the clear difference between both the terms, we'll start with a discussion from a programmer, and then we'll gradually move to the engineers. So let's see a programmer side first. A programmer is a guy who is allowed to talk to computers in a language that a computer can understand. A computer programmer translates or codes instructions for a computer to follow. You might say to a programmer, make me a network library in order to get HTML pages in C#. What the programmer will do here is, he will complete this task bit by bit, and then he'll send a report. So a programmer's job is limited to doing coding for networking and giving it back to the person who requested it. So a programmer has not a huge amount of responsibility. If you'll ask a programmer to retrieve a file from a certain place, he'll write the code for that, complete the task, and that's it. A programmer has to do one thing, whatever he or she is assigned to do. When you jump into coding, your journey starts from becoming a programmer. Now, let's make a move to the developer's role. Development is not far away from programming. As a programmer, you can expand your job responsibility and become a developer. Suppose someone is requesting you to build software. Now, building software is not just going to be working on a simple piece of software. Making a network library is a piece of software. You need to think about the networking part. You may have to work with the server, you may have to work with the front end or back end as well. So as a developer, you need to work on all the pieces of software it means to a complete structure of software. You also need to understand how to link all the different pieces of software together. So a software developer understands the structure of what he or she is making. Now finally, we move to the engineer's role. Let's expand the role of the software developer and move to the role of a software engineer. When you request to build software to a software engineer, then he or she needs to consider a server, a website, an app that uses different technologies. Now, a software engineer will manage the whole development task and assign them to the developers. One developer has to take the responsibility of the server, one would be responsible for the website, and one would take the responsibility of the app. A software engineer needs to ensure that all these things can talk to each other. So a software engineer has a big responsibility, and a bigger one than a software developer, because he's the one who is taking the responsibility to build a product where everything works fine for its end users or customers. So in short, a software engineer outsources all the tasks to software developers. Now, you might have gotten a clear idea that how a programmer moves to the role of a software engineer by expanding his or her responsibility. Their salaries also differ from each other. A software developer will earn more than a programmer, and a software engineer will earn more than a developer. In conclusion, we can say that a developer starts his job by speaking to the customers, understanding their needs, and then designing and developing the different components of applications that are meeting those customers' needs. He manages the whole project from start to finish. A software engineer does all the things that a developer does, but considering a bigger picture or view than developers. They're responsible for taking care of the complete architecture. Software developer versus software engineer. A software engineer is much more focused on the architecture side, i.e. crafting the final product, bringing all the systems together, whereas a developer concentrates more on individual tasks inside of that development. So thanks for watching. If you learned something new, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching. See you soon.